Okay, so as many of you guys know, Roe v. Wade was just overturned, so that means abortion rights have gone back to the states. And because of that, a lot of people are talking about abortion argument and all that, and I stumbled across this really awesome video. It came out on October 5th, 2021 by Matt Walsh, and he goes through some really great points on that debunks the pro-abortion argument. So we're going to watch this together, and we're going to talk about it. Let's check it out.
With abortion back in the news, you've probably been hearing lots of pro-abortion arguments. They come fast and furious and repetitively, and the one thing they all have in common is that they're all quite wrong and stupid.
He makes a point. I mean, the left loves to argue out of emotion, and they don't ever look at actual facts of an argument. So I think it's going to be really great. Let's check it out.
So now I'm going to go through every pro-abortion argument and debunk them all in about 4 minutes or less, hopefully. All right, so 4 minutes on the clock. Let's go through them. Argument.
Matt Walsh is a genius. He's really, really smart dude. So this is going to be some good stuff.
Number one, a woman has the right to choose. Answer, no, nobody has a universal right to choose. We all agree that some choices must be prohibited. The question is not if women should be able to choose generally, but if they should be able to choose to intentionally destroy innocent human life. If you say they do, then you have to defend that choice on its merits. You can't defend the choice based simply on the fact that it is one.
Man, that's so good because, you know, their argument is that they're pro-choice and we're pro-life, right? But no, they're not really pro-choice. They're just pro-abortion, right? They believe that death is the only option for this child. They don't believe that the child has a choice, right? They remove that choice from the child, and the choice for the child is made by the adult. And no, that's wrong, right? Especially when it comes to death, right? There are some choices that we can make for our children. If death is the option, then it's wrong.
2, pro-lifers want to control women's bodies. Answer, no. The body in dispute is not the mother's. The question again is whether the body of the human in her womb can be intentionally destroyed. The child's body is the one at issue here, and we as pro-lifers are the ones trying to defend it.
So good.
3, pro-lifers are only pro-birth. They don't care about babies after they're born. Answer, you have no data or evidence to support that stupid claim. Besides, our position is that babies in the womb have moral worth equal to babies outside. Of course we believe babies outside have worth. That's the whole basis of our argument. Our assertion is that babies in the womb have worth, and that's based on our contention that babies and all people outside have worth. Our argument hinges on the comparison between humans inside and outside the womb. And our contention is that there is no inherent difference in these groups aside from their physical location.
The fact is that the majority of people that are taking care of the babies and foster children and single mothers are Christians and pro-lifers. That's a fact. That is the vast majority. Even the majority of orphanages are done by Christian organizations, right? There's pregnancy centers that take care of these mothers after the babies have, they're going to help support these babies and these mothers. There's churches that help support single mothers and give money to them and put them in homes and things like that. So the argument that we don't care about people care about babies after the babies are born is totally bogus, and this is completely debunked.
4, the fetus is just a clump of cells. Answer, we're all clumps of cells. Some of us are far clumpier than the average infant. None of that is relevant. What's relevant is whether the fetus is a distinct and separate human entity.
What a ridiculous argument that the fetus is just a clump of cells. Like that, he totally debunked. It makes sense that we're all clumps of cells. This is a clump of cells. Like, you can't say that it has no value because it's a clump of cells, right? Because everything we have is a clump of cells, right?
Which he is. 5, the fetus is not a person, but a potential person. Answer, no, he is again a distinct human entity. If this is not the definition of a person, then none of us are persons. Also, even if he is a potential person, it doesn't automatically follow that we should destroy him. Do you believe that all non-persons can be killed? What if I decapitated a bald eagle? How would you feel about that? You see, you're wrong that the unborn child isn't a person. By definition, he is. But even if you were right, you'd still be wrong.
There are people that care more about trees getting cut down than they do about human life. It is crazy. And those are the people that are on the left. They believe that a puppy it has more value, right? It needs to be saved more than a human life that is growing inside of a human body, right? And they are separate. Those two humans that are growing, the human that's growing, the human that is growing it, are separate DNA structures. They're separate humans, and they should be protected. Both of them.
That's how wrong you are. 6, women have reproductive rights. Answer, this one I agree with. Nobody should ever be forced to reproduce. But birth is not reproduction. Conception is reproduction. By the time the abortion is procured, reproduction has already occurred.
That's right. Like there's no one stopping you from reproducing, right? You can go and do that. But when you make that decision, there's another life that is growing, well, that life needs to be protected now. You've already made your decision, okay?
7, what about rape and incest? Answer, that's not an argument. That's a hypothetical. Rape and incest only account for about 1% of all abortions. These are hard and rare cases. They might mitigate the individual moral culpability of a woman who chooses abortion, but they don't change the fact that the unborn child is a distinct human entity, i.e. a human being, i.e. a person, and therefore worthy of the same protections the rest of us receive. We can't kill the child for the sins of the father. If you want to execute somebody for rape, execute the rapist, not the baby.
That's it, man. This is an argument where, because the left only argues out of emotion, they want to argue that, hey, what about these crazy cases? What are you going to do? You're going to force them to have a baby? No, the baby's growing, and it's a separate life now, right? And that life deserves to be alive no matter what the situation is. You don't kill something, you don't murder something just because someone else committed a crime, right? That's ridiculous. It doesn't work in any other situation, right? So we can't just kill the baby just because a terrible crime has happened to this mother.
8, women cannot be forced to remain pregnant. They have bodily autonomy. Answer, no, they don't have absolute autonomy. And yes, they should be forced to remain pregnant if the other option is to kill the child. If this sounds harsh to you, then consider the fact that we already force parents to do all kinds of things for their born children. We force them to feed their children, clothe their children, care for their children every second of the day. We impose responsibilities on parents that we don't impose on anybody else. I am required to do things for my child that I don't have to do for any other human on earth. If parents don't want to fulfill that obligation, they must find somebody who will. They can't simply leave their kid on the side of the road, nor can they drown their kid in the bathtub. Murder and neglect are not acceptable parenting strategies for babies outside the womb, and they shouldn't be for babies inside the womb either. 9.
There are laws that are in place that if you do not feed your child, you will be arrested. You will be put in jail, and that child will be put into a home of people that actually care about the child, a caring home, foster system, adopted, or whatever it may be, right? If you do not clothe your child or don't send them to school, there are certain laws that are in place that protect that child, right? And so the Roe v. Wade getting overturned is literally just saying that those laws are now being put on the states, right? There's still abortion throughout the country. That's still going to happen. California, wide open. There's some states that want you to be able to abort up to 9 months or the day before pregnancy or the day before birth, or even, partial birth abortion, which is abhorrent and disgusting. That can still happen in a lot of cases. There are states that that have completely eradicated abortion. Planned Parenthood is going to be shut down in a lot of places, and which is a great thing, right? Because that curse that is over our nation of the death and murder of children is now going to be lifted.
Fetuses aren't conscious, therefore we can kill them. Answer, first of all, how do you know? We know basically nothing about the nature of consciousness. We can't even agree on what consciousness is, much less where it comes from or how it works. Besides, let's say that they aren't conscious. How does that justify murder? Especially when we know that their state of unconsciousness is temporary. Should it be legal to kill people when they're sleeping? What about a person who's in a coma but expected to recover within a few months? And if consciousness is the measure, then shouldn't the right to life be granted in degrees according to the level of consciousness? Not everybody's equal in consciousness. A 25-year-old has greater consciousness, greater self-awareness than a 1-year-old. What about people with dementia? They're conscious to some degree, but it's fading. So how far does that go? What's the limiting principle here? There isn't one.
It's a slippery slope, right? If consciousness is the key for life, right, then when someone falls into coma, they're just going to start killing people or people that have dementia, and they're going to start offing older people, right, because their consciousness is fading. Or there's been plenty of stories of people who have been in comas and then woken up, right, when the doctor said that they were brain dead and they're living happy lives now, right? Should we have killed those people? A pro-choicer would have said yes. A pro-lifer would have said no, right? And I know there's definitely circumstances, and they can study brains and all these different things and see what's going on, but it's a slippery slope and it's very, very dangerous.
10, finally, pro-lifers are just a bunch of men trying to boss women around. Answer, not true. The pro-life movement is and has always been led primarily by women. Also, it's irrelevant. Also, it's a double-edged sword. Roe v. Wade was decided by only men. Should we overturn it on that basis? I'm guessing you'd say no. That's why that argument doesn't work. None of these arguments work, which isn't a surprise given that you're trying to justify the murder of children. There are no good arguments for that, as should hopefully now be obvious.
When we talk about the murder of children, it's one that reminds me of the people says this evil vengeance God of the Old Testament. Well, the God of the Old Testament was actually wiping out nations that were murdering children, sacrificing children. When you are putting your newborn child or your child on the altar to the god of Moloch or Baal, that means you are an inherently evil person. And those people, in this day and age, would get the death penalty. God gave those people the death penalty. And so I believe that when there is a wide open abortions in this world, that you are opening up the judgment of God over this nation, whether it's a curse or whether it's less prosperity in this nation. I believe that having abortion wide open, legal in this nation, a rule of the land, constitutional right, is a very, very dangerous place for us to be. So now I believe that as a Christian, I believe this, as Roe v. Wade is now no longer a law or rule of the nation, then that curse or whatever it may be will be removed off our nation. And that we maybe moved into a time of prosperity. Right now, the country is struggling a lot. But I think that God's going to start blessing our nation. So this was a great video. I'll put the link of it in the description if you want to watch it all the way through. Subscribe to his channel for sure. Subscribe to this channel, like and comment. I would love to know your thoughts on abortion, what you think about it, and what you think about Roe v. Wade being overturned. Thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you later. Peace.